Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome, astrology friends and family. Welcome to August. Eclipse activity starts now, and also we are in the thick of Mercury retrograde shenanigans as my neighbor's mowing his lawn. Maybe I can edit this out later. Anyway, we're just going to go with it. Yeah, so we're dealing with a lot of planets in retrograde. The outer planets are in retrograde. We have Saturn, Pluto, Uranus will start to retrograde in September. Mercury will be retrograding August 4th, and we won't clear shadow period until somewhere near the mid of September. Also, we'll be getting into the Chiron retrograde soon as well, too. Okay, so let's try and have fun while we can. Leo season, the next few weeks are the time to really keep enjoying, especially with everything slowing down. Vacation when and where we can, time spent with children, having fun, theater, outdoor theater, concerts, putting yourself out there, leadership in the community. Don't be afraid to take those chances, put yourself out there, put your work out there, your creativity. Now's the time with all this goodness in Leo. Love Leo season. I'm an Aquarius rising, so naturally I'm always, loving all things Leo. They're my other end of the spectrum there. Okay, let's get into the eclipses because you will start to be feeling some of this eclipse activity. Now the eclipse will happen in September, but as you may already be aware, the feelings and rumblings of eclipse activity can start happening about a month before, and then it usually kicks off a new 6-month cycle until you have the eclipse in the opposite sign. What we're going to be experiencing is kind of the fading out of the Aries Libra eclipses. The last Libra eclipse will be in September, and the last Aries eclipse will be next March 2025. So we still have, several months to work on those themes of that axis if things haven't been accomplished yet in those areas. We also have Chiron still in Aries as well. Okay, so on September 17th, 2024, we're going to have a full moon partial lunar eclipse in Pisces at, let me check, 25 degrees. And this will be affecting those born with Pisces or Virgo placements anywhere from 21 to 29 degrees and 0 to 1 degrees of the cardinal signs, which are Cancer, Capricorn, mom and dad, Aries the warrior, and Libra the lover. All right, the eclipse will start to highlight all the things that are Pisces, Virgo, prior to the nodes shifting into those signs by next spring. We will have the nodes of fate and one last set of eclipses wrapping up, like I mentioned, on the Aries, Libra axis for the next 6 months. Okay, so knowing that, this activity can be felt now, I just kind of wanted to talk about that, especially with everything, so many planets being retrograde. Yeah, okay, so in the Pisces area of our charts is where we are going to see some of this activity. After having so much Aries self-directed energy over the past year, pushing us to take initiative and propelling us forward in that Aries part of our sky, and also healing a wound since Chiron has been there. We could have started to be aware of that and started working on that in the past year or so. And like I said, if you haven't done so yet or initiated something of great importance to you yet, don't worry. There are still several months left of this Aries Libra story, especially with Chiron and then also, the nodes of fate and the eclipses happening there as well. So what does this mean? So we will now be taking in and further integrating, the healing process, especially with Pisces and Neptune coming into the picture, forcing us to kind of slow down and integrate those changes that have been coming in internally or externally, slowly or rapidly over the past year. Rahu, the North Node, can speed things up. If you started your own business, for example, that would be like a very self-initiated Aries type of thing. Now and in the next year and a half, you could be developing like a sacred space in your home or devoting a special space to work in that, you can paint and decorate, plants, Doesn't have to be just for business either. It could be a sacred space you use just as your own, like getaway, quiet time to meditate, rest, writing, creativity, listen to music, to I don't care if you just go there to daydream. It will be a really great thing to do. All right, and though, although with Saturn here in Pisces until 2026, he's structuring those dreams to help you make them come true. So any kind of like blockages you feel that you may come up against with Saturn there in Pisces, it's only to slow you down to make sure that the things that you're putting into place are solid and stable and can withstand the test of time. That's what Saturn likes anyway. The other end of this axis is Virgo, and Virgo will help you. Virgo will help you organize yourself to make those Pisces creative dreams come true. You know, you can pull your projects out of the ethers and put them onto paper, to film, to clay, to actual music, to whatever it is that is your creative inspiration or muse. Lunar eclipses also can be a very emotional time. They can trigger relationship endings or breakthroughs, and even good breakthroughs can be emotional. I feel this time and over the next year and a half, we can really find our way through that Aries wound that we've had, or maybe we didn't even realize that we had it. For example, like maybe you, Chiron in Aries has been transiting through your second house of self-worth and your face and your earnings, your bank account, what you put into your mouth, and maybe you realize you didn't know that you had a bad habit relating to food, and it's kind of come up to be looked at over the past year or so. Maybe you have an allergy that you found out you had and you didn't know it based on what you were eating, and now you have this time to kind of start integrating those changes. Pisces is very healing, heal your body or whatever might have ailed you. So we could really maybe start to make progress in standing up for ourselves as well. Aries is a warrior. Is not afraid of standing up for himself, herself. We can also have been learning how to not be codependent, and maybe we're starting to make our own money instead of depending on another. Maybe we're healing long-standing relationship issues or issues about self-worth, your body, your identity. These types of healing changes can be very emotional and even in a good way. And if you haven't, like I mentioned, seen these changes yet, not to worry. We still have several months left with the nodes of fate, Chiron, and the eclipses here to help you quickly make changes for the better in the Aries Libra part of your sky. Kind of a grand finale next March 2025. This Pisces eclipse is the first in the cycle, and it's possibly just highlighting or giving that first little nudge of awareness or discontent around emotions, spirituality, relationships, as full moons and lunar eclipses can relate to relationships, your home, your family, motherhood, mothering, as the moon rules Cancer. And anytime you have lunar eclipses, you always kind of look to the Cancer part of your sky and see how that area is being triggered at that time as well. Crisis can happen as we are made aware of imbalances in these areas as well. Some relationships can end for new ones to begin if there's been trouble in those areas. And on the other side, if there have been problems that are being brought to light at the time of this full moon, there may be a path forward to find some healing, and maybe you can grow and progress together if that is something that you're in a relationship and you would want to work on. There can also be fulfillment of creative projects or drama at the time of the full moon, especially with it being the first in this new eclipse cycle. You can also get sudden dreams, downloads, or inspirations about creative projects, music, acting, film, etc. How to help maybe marginalized peoples, issues with the ocean, or maybe you want to start a nonprofit or become part of a nonprofit that helps ocean animals or comes up with fishing net solutions or oil spills. And really interesting note on that, just to kind of show you how the stuff is already starting to come into play, is I went to go get my hair trimmed the other day, and what I found out was kind of cool is that they charge an extra $2, a $2 fee when you're getting your hair, cut colored, whatever. And what they do is they use the clippings from the salon to make these hair mats that then are used to soak up oil spills in the ocean. And they're really effective at it as well. They just kind of, and there's a video you can watch online where you can see that, there's the oil spill, which is horrible. And they put these like hair mats in and it just kind of sucks it up. So already we're going to start seeing these types of things come to the forefront, which I'm really excited about because who doesn't love the ocean, right? Know that if you do come up with or receive, inspiration downloads, that you should act on them not at the time of the full moon, but act on them as in like writing them down. Keep a pen or your tablet or whatever it is you use to write on at the ready starting now. Know that these will be divinely guided, divine downloads. I don't think there'll be anything coincidental about this. Also, with this being the Pisces Virgo axis, and Virgo rules health and organization and service, work, pets, we could have health challenges that might come up to the surface at this time to be healed, or we could have endings to jobs that no longer serve our well-being, with new paths being illuminated to more fulfilling work, or spiritual paths might come through. Maybe you find a need in your community and you decide, you know what, I'm done with administrative work and I want to create my own or nonprofit or become a founder of my own nonprofit and helping children in my community who suffer from, not having enough to eat or clothing or school supplies. And you can start a small movement there, and that would be a really beautiful thing to do. So, just an idea. Okay. Also, what are some other things that could happen? This is also the other end, because we're talking about the 6th house and the 12th house axis. 6th house also represents small pets, and that's in the Virgo house. A pet can have issues or pass at this time if they've been struggling with health issues, but also a new one can come in. New fated pet, and fears and addictions can come up at this time as well. 12th house does represent addictions, and we can find ways to heal our mind, especially with Virgo at the opposite end. We can look for and find a great and destined healer at this time. The Virgo axis can also help you get organized and clean up that area of your life if you are suffering from addictions or bad health habits, and get yourself pulled together, especially if you were in your head too much, or also if you've been unable to pull your dreams, out of the ethers or from your Neptune haze. Those ideas and dreams can get lost up there. And Virgo's really good at solidifying things and making it happen. Excuse me. Let's see. Sometimes Virgo does strive for perfection and it can hamper our creativity. So we'll be working on trying to strike that balance, right, of the creativity and the day-to-day work, and trying to balance the two. At this time, you can, and especially now, right in August, we can start meditating. Anything with like water therapy would be good. Prayer, if you pray, and it doesn't have to be religion, it could be whatever God you pray to. Epsom salts, you could clean up your auric field leading up to this full moon. I always suggest safest bet is nature, rest, sleep. I always try to aim for like 7 or 8 hours, and it's almost always a win, especially preparing for those jitters that you can start to get during eclipse activation periods. Having magnesium to root yourself down a little bit and to kind of root down and anchor your nervous system. Magnesium rich foods like black beans and sweet potato and stuff like that. But always check with your doctor or your dietitian if you have any kind of health issues, or if you're unsure if you can eat those types of things. You can also make little simple changes to your diet, like more water, fresh fruits, chemical free food, vegetables. Try to do like a no alcohol. I know that might be hard for some, in these last beautiful weeks of summer that we'll be having. It's hard at barbecue or hanging out at the beach with friends, but maybe you can make a mocktail, something like that. Start working on a creative project. That's another great way to use this energy. Jot down those major insights that can happen now. And this is also a really kind of interesting period where loved ones who have crossed over may start to appear or send messages to you in odd ways as the veil begins to thin. These are just some of the ideas that I'm giving you, and I will describe what the beginning of this new cycle means for each of you in all of the 12 signs, and I will also probably talk more in depth about it the closer we get to the eclipse and, you know, as we proceed with this, you know, the shifts of the nodes and everything else. So, yeah, all right, well, let's get started.
Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. The eclipse on September 17th will affect you late Geminis from 21 degrees and up in your 10th house of career, career status, father figures, reputation, how you're seen in the world, leadership, government fall here as well. The other end of this axis is the Virgo 4th house, and over the next year and a half, you could be trying to balance the demands of home and family, your roots, your foundation, what you're trying to accomplish out in the world. Some of these issues could be out of balance and start to come to light around September 17th, but you could start to feel the rumblings of that now. For example, you know, maybe you moved recently or plan on moving, and while it can be an exciting process and a very emotionally fulfilling one, it can also be difficult trying to move and balance your career and your home and your family. Maybe you wrapped up or are in a time crunch now to wrap up a project related to career and reputation, but you're also dealing with demands from home and family, or maybe a significant partner, or maybe you're taking care of a parent, especially maybe a father figure at home as well. And this could also just be the first highlighting of the need to balance all of this out, the seesaw axis of home and family in the 10th house of visibility and career. You can also be letting go of a career path to strike out on a new one, a more spiritual or creative path related to career. Maybe you are working from home or want to work from home over the next year and a half, and then you're becoming known as someone else up in the 10th house. Say that you were a stay-at-home parent and you'll be transiting to the workforce again, or maybe you'll become aware that you can no longer do unsatisfying work, and it comes to culmination around September 17th, and you start the process of embarking on a whole new path in life. For example, you don't want to work a 9-to-5, and maybe you want to move to a more meaningful career, like you worked in banking, and now you want to start building a nonprofit that benefits society or a need in your community. Maybe also, you know, you want to work from home, but did I already mention that? I think I did. Working from home, but it changes your reputation out in the world. So maybe, you know, you're a stay-at-home parent, but you also work from home, and you're known, out in the world, that's your role. And that can be difficult if you're working from home and taking care of children and family affairs. It's, tough to strike that balance. Let's see. And I said that. Okay, and maybe now, also, like if you wanted to start building a nonprofit that benefits society, I mentioned that, or your community, you can also decide to create a sacred office space at home, or even if not at home, maybe you can come across one over the next year and a half to do your work relating to the 10th house. You can also reach a culmination around a boss, or with a boss or a father figure around September and over the next year and a half as well. Last but not least, you could be working on a written project and become recognized around the lunar eclipse in September, making it an emotional time for you, but in a good way. If so far none of these topics are resonating, just know that you could definitely create and write and become recognized for projects of that nature, deep creativity over the next year and a half. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. The new moon in Leo at 12 degrees will be in your third house, also joining the Sun and Venus in her last degrees here. The third house represents the lower mind, local community, and when I say lower mind, I mean more like day-to-day activity. Your thoughts are centered around your local community, what you have to do every day, travel within your country. The third house also represents places you can drive to, coffee shops, marketing, local business, siblings, aunts, uncles, social media. You could have new beginnings starting here and also around vehicles, but with Mercury stationing retrograde, Mercury also rules you. Don't sign any contracts or buy new technology. I would say until September 12th or so. You can start the research and looking into it now. Around September 12th or so, we should be fully cleared of the Mercury retrograde shadow. You could also be wrapping up a trip away that you loved, with Venus having been here, and Venus getting ready to leave and will be heading to your fourth house of home and family, which is also really good. You could have received downloads around business ideas, or downloads around speaking or writing projects, or a business where you can make things with your hands, as Gemini rules the hands. There's a little bit of a crunch from Saturn to this new moon from Pisces, your 10th house, of father figures, career and reputation. Maybe there's a blockage to the projects that you have in motion or from an authority figure, or maybe you have to work and career deadlines there are to meet that are preventing you from local travel, or you have to shorten a trip that you were absolutely loving to meet work deadlines. You could also come up with a great business idea around this new moon, but maybe just jot it down and plan it out, again, because Mercury is retrograde until August 27th, but not out of shadow until September. With the new moon in Leo and the sun here, it could be fun times with children, if you have children, or doing things with children, or ideas for education for them. Love messages could also come through via text, email, meeting love locally or on the internet. Maybe you're getting downloads around creative projects, acting, theater. Leo is all about creativity and children. Maybe you're using creative mediums like YouTube for a small film series, for creative work, or a documentary. The third house is also a business house and marketing, so you could have new ideas and creative ones around these topics. Also, just a side note, be careful with tools if you're working at home, as Mercury rules the hands and it's retrograde. And don't forget that Mars is in Gemini in your first house for the next few weeks, all the way until, I think, September. Okay, Mercury starts the retrograde from August 4th through August 27th in Virgo, your fourth house of home and family, highlighting and going over fourth house issues of motherhood, roots, home, family. You could be also negotiating a piece of property. Just don't sign again until shadow period passes in September. With Mars in your sign, your first house, until September 4th, watch your temper, especially with words, because Mercury rules you and is in the fourth house, and Mars is not its happiest in Gemini. Could be sharp words, cutting words, Mars cuts. Just be careful with that. Just, something to look out for with that irritation with family members. A good way to use this energy is maybe working on old projects in the home, or old communication projects at home, using your hands and creativity, carving out a place to work, write, or where you use your voice over the next few weeks. You could also be on the move with Mars in your first house, or in the process of moving house. Maybe you're moving around more in your local community, coffee shops, parks, etc. On August 7th, Mercury in Virgo will conjunct Venus, which is a beautiful aspect, who had moved into Virgo on August 5th. Venus will stay there until August 29th. This will happen at 3 degrees and be felt for early degree Geminis from 0 to 8 degrees. If an irritation came up at home, you could be smoothing these things out now, around the days of August 5th to August 10th. You could also get sudden news about property, home, an offer on a home, but again, wait till sign the contract until September. If it was a previous contract, however, it may be okay to sign an old one that comes back to be revisited. Messages, texts, emails can come in around love, or an old love can reappear around these dates as well. You could be making money from home, from creative communication projects that you previously worked on, or an offer for your written work can come through. You could be beautifying your home as well over the next few weeks with Venus here, or just love being at home. Maybe you're working around the house and you're just, really enjoying time being spent there and with family members. Just keep yourself active, again, because Mars is here as well in your first house. So keep yourself busy, exercise, and that should help mitigate any kind of negative influence of Mars. You can also get an offer if you were trying to sell your home, and it can turn out to be quite lucrative, especially if it's something that's already been out there and in the works. The full moon on August 19th will be in Aquarius at 27 degrees, and it happens in your 9th house of publishing, distant travel, foreigners, travel where you would have to fly, higher education, religion, legalities, teachers, gurus, doctors, lawyers, foreign language, etc. This full moon marks a completion around these topics, and it also makes a trine to your first house for the later degree Geminis from 22 to 23 degrees and up. Maybe you reached a milestone and learned a new language or finished a degree. Maybe you're having a breakthrough with learning a new language. Maybe with Mars and Jupiter. Jupiter is now in your first house until next June. You get news around opportunities to publish your written papers, work, or novel. Maybe you're just tired of day-to-day activity and ready to have some fun, or you want to take a trip. You may have been feeling, a lack of fun and joy, and you want to focus on that higher, ninth house and of higher mind, or maybe enjoyment with a group of people, a group of friends, or possibly at this time, a friend could be in need or in crisis and needs your help or guidance. Or you could also alternatively find yourself around many people in an educational or humanitarian setting, or wrapping up a project around these groups to make room for new ones to come in. On August 22nd, the sun moves into Virgo, your fourth house. Again, there's going to be a lot of activity going on with this fourth house, where Mercury will pass back through, and where Venus already has, taken root. Lighting up activity, joy, fun, news from the home, about family, and this would be good news. Venus in the fourth trines Uranus in the 12th on August 27th, exact at 27 degrees, affecting late degree Geminis from 22 to 23 degrees up. Maybe you get sudden healing insights about family dynamics. The 12th house is a hidden house of the deep subconscious, past lives. Sudden opportunities to travel to distant shores might come up as well. If you work from home, money from foreign shores like a publishing house, overseas, PayPal or Stripe, etc. might come in. Maybe you have a rental or land opportunity overseas or far away, and it would be quite lucrative. If you're writing, maybe a creative inspiration or sudden download can come through at this time, and it would be a fantastic time for creative insights and creativity as well. Last but not least, maybe a new exciting encounter can happen online or through social media or from far away. And I think that's about all